So there's this sort of pan Hispanic identity, amongst, in Latin America, where it's kind of an unspoken togetherness amongst different nations of Latin America, amongst different Hispanic groups. And it's there. It's definitely there, right? It comes out occasionally. It's expressed occasionally. Um, Now, obviously, what's also there is some sort of riffraff against, other Hispanics. I guess, like between different Hispanic groups, different Hispanic nations. Um, as Dominicans, they like to say our people like to say, oh, Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't get along. Um, I hate to break. This is a popular one, but the thing is that this isn't necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. It's a popular theme that people tend to think that Dominicans and Puerto Ricans don't get along. I think that the only people that truly really understand this are actually Dominicans and Puerto Ricans. That this thing between Dominicans and Puerto Ricans that there is. um, and it's really just small minor things. I think overall we understand that we're basically the same people. You know, me personally, I can say like in my life, people would think that I'm Puerto Rican before they would think that I'm Dominican. As in my young years, this used to bother me. As I got older, I understand it now, and I accept it 100%. I say it's okay. But at the end of the day, my background is actually Dominican and not Puerto Rican. And, you know, however, though, um, when there's this thing where Dominicans, people have this wrong perception, wrong idea of what Dominicans actually are. And let me tell you about a personal experience that I had with a Puerto Rican woman, Puerto Rican girl, one time. All right. I was talking to this girl, and basically, we had a conversation, and it was like this. I forgot what it was exactly, how it went, and I basically told her, we're Dominican, Puerto Rican, we're the same race, and she goes, and she goes, now me and you, we're the same race, but I seen some Dominicans that are not the same race as us, and I understood why she had this idea, and I basically told her like, no, look, I ended up saying, no, you don't understand, because Dominicans are not black. But basically, I was telling her like, look, these blacks that you see, that portrayed as Dominicans. I mean, I'm sure you might run into like a black person that speaks Spanish, like a Dominican, the way that Dominicans are perceived to speak. I understand, so I don't blame them. And so when I hear this kind of stuff against Dominicans by any other Hispanic group, I don't take it personal, right? Because nobody ever sees me as black. No, this doesn't really happen. I know like there's some people on the internet that say this, but in real life, no, never, never happened to me. So like to me, I don't take it personal. I understand why they see things this way. Um, and if I get an opportunity to explain it, I do, right? To explain this thing to a person, I do, okay? Um, so, however, though, my thing is I'd rather stick to the sort of pan Hispanic idea, like to being together as Hispanics. Yeah, we were different, obviously. The Hispanics in the Caribbean, Puerto Rican, Cuban, and Dominicans, we are much more similar than we would be with, let's just say, for example, Mexicans. Um, but however, though, and it's not like about speaking Spanish. To me, it's not about speaking Spanish. Not a linguistic thing. It's that we are tied together by a common genetic, and that is our Iberian genetics. That's really what brings us together. That's really what ties us together. You know, at the end of the day, that's really what ties us together. That's really what's gonna bring us uh, together. The commonalities that we'll find amongst each other. Let's say, for example, a Dominican meets somebody, a Spanish person from Spain. There's gonna be a lot of commonalities, and they're gonna see it. It does happen. It's gonna be seen, and then they're gonna know why. A Venezuelan, when Dominicans see things much in common with Venezuelans, we know why. We know where it comes from. It always stems from our Iberian ancestry, right? And traditions passed down. All right. So this is my whole thing. This is what we need to stick to. So I see like this some sorts of attacks when like certain Dominicans attack probably another Hispanic groups, and then other Hispanic groups will attack Dominicans. This is just examples. I see this with sometimes for example, Ecuadorians attacking Mexicans and vice versa, or whatever the case may be. But again, we have to stay away from this. Me, on my channel, I stay away from this. I don't care for this kind of stuff. I ignore it. I'll ignore this stuff. And the reason is because it strays away from a bigger purpose. It just strays away from a bigger purpose. If, for example, let's just say I personally didn't really like Mexicans, to me that matters much less than issues from non-Hispanic groups against us. And this is where the confusion comes in with other groups. I guess I'm gonna say with blacks especially, particularly, that when they bring these things up, because they use these things against us, right? Like they'll say other Hispanics don't like Dominicans because they're seen as blacks. Again, but these blacks, they're actually Haitians, but. And they're not like of the actual Dominican stock. I'm just being honest. I'm sorry. It's just the truth. You don't have to like it. It's the truth. All right. I know that you can speak Spanish. You can cook this food. To be honest, you probably can't. If you're black, people get confused. They get everything backwards. They think that blacks can cook good. It really is backwards, honestly. However, though. As Dominicans, we are uniquely under attack by something else. Okay. So my whole thing is they see this and they think that somehow this will bring blacks. Like they'll see this, they'll think that somehow this will bring us closer to blacks, right? Because they'll hear another Hispanic say something against another Hispanic group. And the truth is no, it doesn't. Let's just say, what Dominicans in general. I know Dominicans that they don't like Puerto Ricans. To be honest with you, and I'm just going to be very honest with you, usually the Dominicans that have an actual issue with Puerto Ricans are usually like ones that are actually much on the darker side, This isn't really a thing amongst the more Euro-descended Dominicans. Like a more Euro-descended Dominican might say something like, "Oh no, we call this food this, and you call it that." all right, or we say this and you say that, or and we speak like this and you speak like that, and that's about it. It's not like a serious like, oh, that actually I see that more on like blacks that say that they're Dominican. I'm being honest with you. In my experience, right? Um, if like a more like if a Euro descended Dominican expresses anything, it's like probably because if they get mistaken for Puerto Rican, they'll just be like, no, I'm Dominican, get it right, something like that. But it's not like a real hatred kind of thing, that is not really a real thing amongst the more Euro descended Dominicans, all right, because we are often seen and mistaken for Puerto Ricans, and it used to bother me, but now it doesn't. It doesn't, not at all. So, however, my whole thing is, no, like, we can have these things, these issues, right? But we need these people to understand, like, this is amongst us. You know what I mean? This is just a thing between us. Some Hispanics might take it more serious than necessary, but to me, when I'm looking at the bigger picture, we need to have our Hispanic identity, especially Dominicans, because of the way that we are under attack. All right? We need to look at what really unites us. Some people, not everybody's going to be on board, so some people aren't going to like it. But to me, it's Hispanics before other groups. All right? And I'm not going to go out of my way to publicly attack another Hispanic group because of what some Mexican posted, for example, or Puerto Rican posted some video that they made about Dominicans or whatever. I'm not going to do that. I don't really like the whole, Dominicans are Anners thing. I don't take that personal because I understand why some people would have that perception. It's not their fault. It's not my fault either. All right. But so my thing is what I do is I try to spread this sort of awareness that no, our identity has been subverted. It's being turned into something that it's not. It is done on purpose, and so I try to raise awareness to this, and that we're being attacked, and that we have to defend ourselves. We have to fight for our true identity and our true heritage, and all of these things. Okay, and that's my thing. Okay, we have a lot of people, a lot of Hispanics that are they're not even aware of any of these things going on. They're just in their own life. And there's too many of Hispanics like that. Okay, so we have this issue. The last thing we need is some other irrelevant nonsense to talk about to further confuse people. Okay, and not just that, but give ammo to our enemies against us. And that's it at the end of the day. All right, take it easy.